Have you ever been stuck in your home on a rainy afternoon and think to yourself, where is all this water coming from and where does it all go? After all, 71% of the earth is made of water, 96% of that water being in the ocean, 4% being in lakes and rivers. I mean, our body is made of 70% of water, so all this water has to be going somewhere and it has to be coming from a certain place, right? Well, we know that the water comes from the skies and it falls to the ground, but does this water go back up? Is there new water, new rain coming down? Is it being made? Where is all this water coming from? Well, that's the water cycle. And there's 3 easy steps into that consist and make the water cycle, which are precipitation, evaporation, and condensation. The first step is precipitation. Precipitation, in its simplest form, is just any form of water falling from the sky to the ground. You've seen rain, right? Well, rain is precipitation in a liquid form. Snow, sleet, hail is rain in a frozen form, and fog and mist is rain in a gas form or a vapor form. When the rain falls to the ground, it hits the ground and it goes into the rivers, right? It all forms eventually. You see it fall to the ground and go into the sewer. The sewer dumps out into a place and it eventually all connects into a certain body of water. Well, that's called stream flow. Sometimes the water falls into the ground and then the water goes from the ground and eventually gets to the river. When this happens, that's called surface runoff. Pretty simple. So once the water is on the ground through precipitation falling from the sky to the ground, how does it get back up? Well, that's evaporation. Evaporation in its simplest form is when the water turns from a liquid form into a vapor or gas and goes back to the sky through heat of the sun. Imagine having a bowl of water and putting it out on a hot day outside and leaving it there for a few hours and then coming back and checking on it. Most of the water, if not all the water, has already disappeared, right? Well, that's because the heat of the sun has heated the water and turned it from a liquid into a gas or a vapor, and it has evaporated up. Think about whenever you sweat, whenever you start running or you're exercising and you begin to sweat, there's water coming out of you. You see steam coming from your body. Well, that's evaporation. There's perspiration. Your sweat is perspiration. And whenever the water falls and it hits plants, the plants soak up all that water and then they soak it up from the ground, from the soil into the plant, and then the plant evaporates that water through a system called evapotranspiration. So the water has fallen from the sky through precipitation, has evaporated in a gas form back to the sky. So what's next? Well, the next step and the final step of the water cycle is condensation. What is condensation? Condensation is when the water evaporates and collects in the clouds. When you look up to the sky and you see all those clouds and you wonder what makes the clouds, well, that's what condensation is. It's just all of the water molecules collecting together to make one cloud. Now, the clouds are up there together. What next? The clouds eventually move from a cooler temperature to a warmer temperature, and they collide with themselves to make bigger clouds, more water molecules collecting together until the water molecules get so heavy, these clouds get so heavy that they cannot hold any more water molecules. So what happens? Precipitation. The water falls from the sky back to the ground through different forms like rain, sleet, hail, snow, and it all starts all over again. So there it is. Now you've answered that question of where does all this water go, where does it come from, and where does it all go? And that's easy. Precipitation, the water falling from the sky to the ground. Evaporation, the water starting in the ground, going back up to the sky. And condensation, all these water molecules collecting together, ready to eventually come back down. That's the water cycle.